So that was only a little grocery shop, but it's so easy to put it in the boot of this car. I'm gonna miss this car when I have to give it back because of just the space in it. So while I've got it, I'm going to enjoy it, and then before you know it, I'll have to give it back, but that's okay. Now to go home and unpack some groceries. It's what I do. Actually, just looking at that time, by the time I get home and unpack these groceries quickly, it will be school pickup time again, so it'll be straight back in the car and picking up kids. We'll have to do that in 2 shifts today, I think. Still no word about the bus. I need it back. So what happens with some rental car companies, when you are not at fault in an accident, they still want to charge you a bond to have a rental car, even if the other company, the other driver is it's their insurance company that's paying for the repairs and for the car. The companies still want a bond. This is one of the few companies that I have found that they don't expect, if you're not at fault in the accident, they don't expect you to pay a bond, not a cent, and they cannot do enough for you. I mean, I'm not sponsored by anyone to say any of this. This is just what we've found, that the people at Acorn Rentals are just amazing. They go above and beyond for you, cannot do enough for you, and you get these lovely cars to drive, and you don't have to part with any money out of your budget to drive them, so long as you're the one who's not at fault in the accident. So I just think it's a terrific service, because, you know, to come up with $100 or $200, no, I'm come through. If you're not expecting it and you haven't got anything saved, I mean, you know, where do you find that money? So these companies are great that don't charge you anything to have the cars. So keep that in mind. If anyone ever runs into you and you're not at fault, look for a company like Acorn Rentals that don't charge you for being the good driver. So sadly, I have to give this rental car back today. I have really enjoyed driving it, and I don't really want to give it back, but my car has been all repaired and I've picked it up and brought it home again now. So this one gets picked up today and taken back, and I have to hand the keys over. So that's the way it is. Look what we got back. So absolutely wonderful to have the bus back. It's been quite an adventure trying to get everybody where they need to be without the bus. So having the bus back now means that we can do the school run, everyone can fit in there, and it just makes my life so much easier. So I'm going to do a bit of a clean out and get all the things back into the bus that we need. So there's lots of really important things that you should always keep in your car or your bus. With small children, there are extra things that might come in handy as well, and I'm going to show you a little sign that I have in the front of my bus. This helps out greatly. We've got a little sign over here. This helps the kids to be responsible for their own things so that mum doesn't have to stand at the door of the bus every day and say, have you got this, have you got that? It's really handy to have that there. So we don't always buddy up our children, but if we're going out on an adventure or an excursion, I will often get one of the older kids just to help me keep an eye on some of the smaller children so that nobody gets lost along the way. So the kids are asked to make sure that they've got their school bag, any swim bags or sports bags that they might need for school, their lunchbox obviously, because mum doesn't want to have to be dropping off lunches to the school if somebody forgets it. Always great to have a drink bottle with you, take some water along, make sure they've got their homework. There's no excuse not to have your homework with you. Any forms or money that the school needs, important for them to remember that. Have their hat, always use your manners, and every day you should take a smile with you wherever you go. So we still haven't done the air conditioning repairs yet, but we will get to that. But at least we've got this back and it's running well. And we can get the kids to school back and forth much easier. So now we've got the bus back, it's Mummy's turn to wash some windows. We'll get some car seats back in here and all our supplies. So we've had all the things out of the bus while it's been being repaired. So now I'm going to get everything back in the bus after it's had its little clean out. And we should be back running full steam ahead. So it's great to have a container in your car or your bus. Pick something fairly sturdy. It's going to get knocked around probably a little bit. It's always good to have something to keep all the little bits and pieces in. So things that are important to have in a car. Look, yes, we've all got torches and lights on our mobile phones nowadays, but if that went flat and you needed a way to change a tyre or to flag somebody down to help you, it's always good to have another torch in the car. Obviously we've got a really big one for the bus, but you could have any size that you like, but it's just kind of important, I think, to have an emergency light. Tissues and some wipes. So even if you don't have small children, probably a good idea to keep these in your vehicle. So you never know when you're going to get caught in the rain, so we've always got some umbrellas, and we also keep some raincoats. Now these are just emergency rain ponchos, and we just keep a bag of those in there. You can reuse them, they're not a single use only. You can just dry them out and fold them back up, pop them back in the car, and ready for the next time. Now, sick bags. In the bus we keep a stack of ice cream containers that can be handed out quickly if somebody isn't feeling well, but particularly in smaller cars you might not want to have ice cream containers sitting in there, so you can buy these at the chemist. These are just a little sick bag. These are very convenient and easy to hand out in a hurry. Very, very, very important. It's one of the things that as soon as one of our kids buys a car, it's like the first thing that I will buy them to put in their car is a first aid kit. Really super important, guys. And when you have a first aid kit in your car, always make sure that all the products in it are not out of date. A lot of things can pass their use by dates, and you don't really want them in there. You want things that you can actually use. Keep some basics, you know, a couple of bandages. These are really good. This is in case you have to give mouth-to-mouth resuscitation to somebody, so that's handy. These are just bandages and the basics in there. So I think it's really important that you have just a small kit in there. And that's just in case you happen to have an emergency. Now always make sure that you have some water in your vehicle. So obviously in a bus we need a lot more, but always have a water container in the boot of your car because you never know when you're going to need to top it up. So folks, also make sure that your tyre, your spare tyre, is in good condition. And make sure that you have the tools to change a tyre. I mean, nobody's going to think about it beforehand, but when you need to change your tyre because you've got a flat, that's when it's going to be important that it's all working properly. So check that out when you're cleaning out your cars, giving it a bit of a wash or a vacuum out. Make sure you've got all the right tools and that your tyre is in good condition. I had to change the tyre once on this bus, and yeah, that was quite the adventure. Bus tyres are extremely heavy and it's quite a big job to do that, but I managed to get through that. It's not something I'd like to do again, that's for sure. But check to make sure, right, that you've got the water, and then make sure that your tyres are in great condition. Make sure you've got the tools to fix that as well, and a set of jumper leads wouldn't go astray in the boot of your car or in a crate in your van. Now what else do we need to put back into this bus? A cushion for comfortable driving. Am I the only person who keeps spare hair ties in the car? Having 7 daughters has taught me that it's always wise to have some spare hairbands around. We always keep some sunshades in here as well. Being such big windows in the bus, sometimes, you know, if you're travelling and you've got sleeping children in here, then you might want to pop a sunshade up for the kiddos. And we'll put our crates of bits and pieces back in the bus. Now don't forget that if you've got a vehicle that has to have a fire extinguisher in it, always make sure that it is in great working condition. Make sure you get it serviced regularly. Now we try and teach our children not to have the bus messy if we can. Not overly so, at least. We try and teach them that if they have rubbish, they can either pop it into the little rubbish bin as they leave the bus, or they can take it inside and put it into the other bin inside. I think it's really important to teach kids that we don't just drop our rubbish wherever we feel like it. There are appropriate places to put it. We don't litter. Another hot day. This is always hot days when I decide to do these jobs. I don't know why. I always choose the hottest of days to do these jobs. But anyway, you know, we've owned this bus now for about probably a decade and a half. So it's been an absolute blessing to our family to be able to all get around together. It's not pretty because it's old, and that's fine. It does the job. It's very reliable. We've hardly had any troubles with it all the years that we've owned it. Sure, you know, the seats are a little beaten up and, you know, it's not looking very glossy like a brand new one, but we love this old bus. It's fantastic to drive, and yeah, I don't think we'll be swapping it anytime soon. So now that everything's back in the bus, might be time to wash the outside, get it all cleaned up, and so grateful that we've got it back and we can start driving it around again. That's awesome. So thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll catch you next time. God bless. And I didn't even have to ask one of the older kids to wash the bus for me, because God provided a free car wash with some beautiful rain.